The go home ahead of the Royal Rumble with an incredible moment on it.
Yeah, an okay Raw with the promo of the year and maybe the promo of the decade from a WWE point of view. Quite sublime, and it lived up to expectations, and that's the biggest compliment. I'm skipping to the promo. Like, Raw was Raw. There was some good, there was some bad, there was some indifferent, quite honestly. But this promo had the weight, not just of the expectations of right now, of CM Punk just being back, of the Royal Rumble, of everything, but of this dream match that has existed since 2021, since Punk came back to wrestling, and that was the first point, maybe other than a period in 2018 where you thought he might work all in because it was in Chicago. Other than that, since 2021, it's been, for me at least, it's been the dream match because of many of the things they said here, and indeed just what these two figures represent. It was I was overstating comparing them to Rock and Hogan, but I do genuinely believe, as figureheads for this generation of wrestling fans, it is these two. If you had the highest expectations, I still think they were exceeded. This was pro wrestling magic at a time of year in WWE where you stand the best chance of summoning it because the stakes are never higher than they are here. There was a promo a few years back, and think about how dreadful WWE was, but Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey knocked one out of the park the night after Becky Lynch won the Rumble because you just couldn't wait for the match. And then Vince went, blah, blah, blah. But either way, you couldn't wait for those two to interact because you realised that the market leader had the hot hand and they were heading towards this big show. This hand feels even hotter, this show feels even bigger, and the market leader is actually leading it. Like, perfect time, perfect moment, perfect everything. Can't wait to get to it, so much so that I'm just talking about it now. Magic. Absolutely what you watch it for.
One of those things you wish you kind of been in attendance for.
No, not really. Not really. I'm not spending 900 quid for that. As I said on Twitter, I'm spending an exorbitant sum of money on a pay-per-view with them two headlining it. Jesus Christ. Quite frankly and quite simply, one of the best wrestling segments I've seen in years and years and years. Certainly the best WWE promo exchange I can remember. Pure magic. I think it was even better than a lot of people are suggesting online. I think I'm with Hamflet. It was better than I ever thought it could be, and I had high expectations for this. I thought it was so sophisticated. So, it was as sophisticated as it was electrifying. Masterful. Like, I cannot throw enough adjectives at it. Looking forward to drilling into it. And that segment was there. There was one other decent one. And the rest was, there was some actively bad stuff on this Raw. Actively bad stuff on this Raw. Thank God for the top end programs.
Right, let's get to this then. It's time for Cody Rhodes and CM Punk face to face. Cody Rhodes enters, gets the reaction you'd expect. CM Punk's music hits before Rhodes can say anything. He gets a great reaction as well. They shake hands, dueling chants for both of them. Punk's like, let's just enjoy this moment.
Love that from Punk. Love that from Punk.
They've both taken very different paths to get here. Still hope they were friends on Sunday morning. I'm not going to do this justice, by the way. I've kind of tried to cover all points, but I would understand if people want to just go and watch the promo and then skip to the bit where I finish this and then the Dudleys give their thoughts on it.
In my, 7 years of podcasting and reviewing WWE TV programs in particular, this is the one thing I would say it's mandatory to watch, because I understand that a lot of our listeners catch up with Raw via us. Watch this. Do yourself the favor.
But just in case you haven't, Cody Rhodes asks Nola and CM Punk, what do you want to talk about?
No, he's trivialized it.
And you said you couldn't do it justice.
So Punk says, I want to talk about your dad. It's Dusty Rhodes, by the way, if you're unaware. Doesn't know if Cody knows this story, but in 2007, Dusty calls Punk on the phone, tells him he's sending his youngest son, Cody, to OVW to start his journey as a pro wrestler, and asks Punk to keep an eye on the kid. At the time, he didn't know if he was the guy for the job, but when Dusty asks a favor, you say yes. But he says, it wasn't a hard job. I stayed out of your way. You didn't get into any significant trouble. You didn't fall into the same vices I saw a lot of your friends or my friends did. I watched you grow from a preliminary wrestler to a main event caliber superstar. May sound condescending coming from Punk, but he's proud of him. And he brings this up, his dad, because on Saturday, he feels like he's breaking a promise. When the bell rings, if they cross paths, he won't.
I'm not going to do it every time, but what a line in a promo exchange full of incredible lines that didn't really feel like lines. That didn't feel like they'd written them down and thought, well, I'm a genius promo, so I'll write that down and love it. It didn't really feel like that. It just was.
Yeah, this could have been. It's WWE, right? It could have all been word for word on a piece of paper somewhere. But it's not just about elevating material, is it? It's about the stars that make it feel completely off the top of the head and what they've been wanting to say for years and years and years.
If they cross paths, he's not going to be looking out for Cody. He's going to be looking for Cody, and he's going to do what he's got to do: win the Rumble, main event WrestleMania. Cody says, "You're not alone in that feeling." I'm also thinking about Dusty. I work with legends: Hayes, Pritchard, Hunter, even Heyman. But when they see me, they can't help but see Dusty. It's a large shadow, but Punk knows well that Cody's done everything in his power since he left to not just be in the shadow, but be the light in the shadow. He will subvert expectations on his own last name and be his own man. And he talks about OVW. Showed up with barely any wrestling experience, no matches under his belt, a nepotism hire, he called himself. And then there's CM Punk, 10 years on the indie scene. Punk treated him like a peer, though. They became friends, which is what makes this bittersweet, because there's no friends in the Rumble. Punk says, what about...
In the match they were promoting. Yeah.
Oh, my God. The fiction is always better than fact, isn't it? You want to live in the fiction of pro wrestling. Like, it's... I know we're constantly interrupting here, but we talked about this a few times. The CM Punk is often the cause of the solution to all of his own problems because he's such a captivating figure, and he was even captivating amidst the controversy that he caused in AEW. But I said it when he came back, you have to acknowledge it, but won't it be great when we're just out there telling stories? And every single time the mention of the Rumble, as opposed to a mention of the other place we used to work.
What do you call it?
Over there.
Yeah.
So much better for it, because you were just being asked to buy the fight that they're selling you on Saturday, and they never, because they're both awesome at this, of course, but they never even strayed from it, I would say. Like, everything was rooted towards that, even when the digs that they were aiming at one another were clearly rooted in a number of different elements of their career. Never once strayed from Sunday.
The core purpose of what this was to do,
Yeah, you want to win on Saturday because you want to win a belt.
And Punk says, but what about Sunday morning, Cody? I can separate business from personal.
And I mean, folks, where's the lie?
There's one lie in every promo. In answer to Bobby Fischer's question, there is one lie in every promo.
They should have a little sigil up in the corner. Tell me when I'm telling lies. There.
Yeah.
Punk said that Rhodes grew up in and personal to him was
There's been here.
Son of one of the greatest. Punk and Cody have traveled very different paths. Punk didn't have a famous dad. He didn't see nepotism. He saw the burden of his last name, how hard it was going to be to get out of the shadow, and congrats. Cody's done it for all the differences, including their clothing right now, suits, and I've just come wearing at the gym. We've got one very similar goal. My dad wasn't famous, says Punk. You started your career standing on third base, but I know that was going to be a burden for you to overcome, and you've done it with flying colours. My dad was just a regular blue-collar guy, an electrician, which is ironic. I'm more of an American dream than you are.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. We're not patting ourselves in the back to say that, well, not quite the words that Cody Rhodes used, but the sentiment Cody Rhodes used was sitting there the whole time as the bedrock of this entire feud, right? That's why it was the dream match. You talked it, I walked it. That's what this was always going to be premised on. I didn't imagine they'd ever come up with a feed line as good as that to actually give Cody the ammo to say it.
Like, it was all quite nice.
Literally next level. Just the levels. The sophistication was unbelievable. They gave CM Punk, and I know we're just crossing streams of recap and analysis. The idea was a trip like Cody Rhodes in his head was there the entire time.
But I'm the good guy, so I'm not going to bring it to the front.
Yeah. All in. I changed it to AEW. Just waiting to see it. And they could have found a better way. Just a more justifiable way for Cody Rhodes to say, I walked it, so what are you going to do about that?
Because why would a baby face like Cody Rhodes have to say it?
Rub his face in it, yeah.
That's not very in keeping with who Cody Rhodes is now, but he was kind of given Punk left him no choice. Yeah. And I love the thought that goes into the ordering of when they say the things they say here, because it's key to, it's key especially to how Punk closes it, which you'll get to, about there's a very quiet establishing of who's the good guy and who's the bad guy here, but they don't want it to be up front, do they? There's got to be those shades of grey.
So Cody's like, okay, American Dream, here's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the what was Punk's thing?
Data.
No.
Did it?
No, CM Punk's big thing when he cut the promo on the ramp.
Big bam!
There we go.
Sorry. It is hard. It is hard when he clicks fingers. I apologise.
You sat right up there, said a few words, rattled off a formula for a revolution, inspired countless wrestlers to get into...
There's beers now.
That's the last one, I promise.
Imagine that. It's like countless wrestlers to go to ladies now.
And then you left. And when you left, you really left. You didn't pass the torch. You dropped it on the way out. You didn't care who picked it up. But I know you did. I did, says Cody. Everything you spoke about, I literally did. Where you talked, I walked.
Oh my God.
And what's actually ironic, that makes me more CM Punk than you.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
I kind of... If there was CCTV in my living room, and if there was CCTV in my living room, and it was somehow broadcast to the entire world, I would say all of them would have got the ick at this complete mark doing what I did.
I felt like
I don't know what it looked like. Get him. Get the prick.
I felt like I was in like a Family Guy cutaway gag where it's 5 a.m. when I'm watching it in UK time and I have to go to a pub. Oh no, the pub's closed. I have to break into the pub. I have to pour myself a pint, just throw it up in the air. Like you say, it becomes involuntary, and that's the point. That's the feeling. Don't think, just feel when you're watching pro wrestling. This is the good stuff, brother. Like
I'm more American Dream than you. I am more CM Punk than you. I mean, Jesus Christ. These are the sorts of things, right, that you just... That's the line around which you build the promo. Everything gets built to that moment. They've had 3 of those lines, and they're not even in a singles program yet.
I know. Like a lot of questions yesterday on our Q&A podcast, which you still listen to, about, well, like, what does Cody do if The Rock, if this, if that? People are, and I get it because I'm panicking too. I would just want Cody Roman for the belt in the main event, but it might not occur. They showed you an option. They showed you an option here that I don't think anybody would be too disappointed about if this was a singles match instead. If, in fact, we were looking at who's going to get the main event, is it going to be Cody and Punk? And it's somehow both of them on night 1. Not bad. Not bad.
So Punk takes his hoodie off. I'm going to go for this then. I'm going to give you the full road to WrestleMania experience. You've been back in the company for 2 years, cover the video game. You're just about to cross the finish line. But
Punk's walked that as well.
Yeah. Yep. What's that in the distance? Oh, it's a bigger superstar who hasn't been around in a long time coming to take it all away from you. Clarifies this time he means him.
Dramatic pause, and it's me. Punk's become The Rock. Like, he became Dwayne in the moment, and then you're just like, how the f*** have you done that, pal? Yeah. Because just to be able to, like, lean into this panic around it, like The Rock taking Cody's place, and then Punk reminding, mate, the most, like, biggest crossover star ever isn't even your biggest obstacle. That's standing in front of you right now. And it being Punk in particular, revealing for the first time as he did, that same glint in his eye, the I'm not here to make friends, I'm here to make money, the darkness that lurks underneath of Punk, knowing that he's now the guy that he once raged against and the man that he once was is now stood in front of him. Like, stunning long and short-term storytelling and character work for the gap that he left in that one moment. He didn't even, like, I was glad a Rocky chant didn't break out because I could see why that would only contribute to the moment, but I loved it not almost like undermining Punk's point, and it's me. Like, this is, I said it like at another point, Sidge, when you wanted Kenny Omega versus Bryan Danielson, I wanted Cody and Punk to talk to each other in a ring. I'm on an hour. Like, when the promos and the anticipation often, they're supposed to elevate the match, but often they outstrip the match. I don't know what these two can do together in the ring, but I think I always knew deep down that this could and was as magic as it was going to be. God, I've watched this 3 times already. It's like a great match. I've watched this 3 times already. Yeah. I know I'm going to watch it at my dinner and I'm going to watch it again when I get home.
I'll finish this up. Cody's like, there you go, looking out for me again. You might be right. Dusty was his best friend. He quoted John Wayne a lot. Courage is being scared to death, but saddling up anyways. Punk might be right. Cody's got only one direction he can go, forward, and that goes through Punk. Cody drops the mic and he goes to leave. Punk pulls him back.
Oh my
And
God.
they go face to face. They go nose to nose even, and it's just. I mean, it's been. If you haven't seen that image, it's everywhere on social media right now. Yeah. Just jaw dropping.
This is absolutely incredible. Obviously, we've done a lot of the analysis within the recap. I just thought this was so unbelievably sophisticated. You know what the purpose of this was. You knew that they were going to eventually have crosswords, maybe get physical or on the verge of being physical. They weren't going to say, I respect you. Yeah, you too. Had similar paths. See, at the Rumble, may the best man win. There was obviously going to be some tension. It's the way that they built to that tension. And as I pointed out, even while having these clearly incredible but planted killer lines that people will remember probably forever, right? That's how special and magic this was. Despite those unbelievable lines, kind of like the wordplay in the dueling competition, it was very clearly scripted by themselves or people who could do like an uncanny emulation of their voice. And yet, I can't recall, this is on par, Handful will probably think it was better. This, for me, was on par with the Punk Kingston, where it was like that breakdown, the unbelievable way in which that mood starts to shift, like to an organic degree that is just completely alien to dialogue and professional wrestling normally. Like the tension that existed and always existed. As I said, you can tell that Cody Rhodes is just waiting for a justifiable time to drop that. Well, you did the pipe
Tee
bomb,
me up
did
for it,
you?
you bastard. Yeah.
Just they knew what they were getting themselves into, and the way they just it all unraveled. The way that mood shifted was just as organic and quotable, and it was just a masterpiece. Just that mood shifting. You never ever in a million years in this segment. This is the most succinct way I can think of putting it over, right? At no point ever would it have flashed across the mind of anybody in that arena to do what?
No.
What?
Yes.
At no point would anyone have thought to have done that. Total manipulation over the crowd. Like staggeringly sophisticated dialogue and build for a pro wrestling promo. People are like, oh, do they have to do Roman Rock? I was like, well, this is the biggest match you've got. I mean, it probably isn't financially, but in terms of how big it felt, how good it would be.
And then The Rock came out the other week and he name-checked Roman Reigns. And he's like, well, that's the biggest match you've got. And then
they do this, and
then they do this. It's like, that's the biggest match you've got. And it's there's that lovely, JR would call it the Shark Tank. There's an element of that, isn't there? Because the WrestleMania main event is real. Like, what that represents is real.
And I loved as well how there was these little details that just got the thread. Like, this needs to come loose and needs to kind of fall apart a little bit. It needs to fray. Not ripping anything up yet, but it needs to fray and they need to do the tension. Just a little line that Punk snuck in, where I was like, it's Rumble, to every man for himself, or whatever he said. I'm going to punch you in the face and throw you over. He didn't just say, I'm going to throw you over. It's like, I'm going to punch you in the face and do it.
Yeah.
It's like just those little moments and then the little sarcastic bits of body language all added up to it just frittering away this sort of like the resolve to be nice to one another. It's just unbelievable.
The hair ruffling of the 2K cover. You pointed out Punk had done that first. The Rumble. I've been in more than you.
Yeah.
Like
the tiny little moments.
Microaggressions. Like, couched as respect, I was reminded, like, this is, I don't know if this is, like, not the done thing when we're just celebrating how great this was, is to just acknowledge the haters for a second. But there's loads of praise, and I'm with Sidgwick. The praise should be, like, even more effusive than it is. But there is also I've seen a bit of negativity online towards this promo. Some of it based on what they did mention, some of it based on what they didn't. The use of Dusty Rhodes, because I guess for a while it was becoming a bit of a cliche. Cody Rhodes fallback bit of material.
I've never had a problem with it once.
For the not mentioning of AEW by name, which, not by name, but you know what I mean? Like referencing directly. And I think we pointed this out.
This is better than Edgy, so...
Yeah, we pointed this out in the preview that like that was the one thing that got Punk crickets. Like if you're going to do it, do it the way they did it here, which is reference enough of the reality without needing to go into the finer point, because the big thing right now, wrestling's always about tomorrow rather than yesterday, and it's about it's promotion. The Rumble is on Saturday. And I was reminded of in 2019 when I just didn't feel what everybody in the building felt for babyface Cody Rhodes, and I would come on this podcast every week and look, I was man enough to say the buildings are going nuts for him. Like, I'm this outlier. I don't get it. And I remember one of the lines, and I think he only said it once, and I was like on a high horse about it. And I was an asshole about it. Like, he called himself the grandson of a plumber. And I love, that's like quite appropriate to Punk saying, yeah, your dad, the grandson of a plumber, your dad was the star. My dad was an electrician, right? And that bothered me that like Cody Rhodes was being presented as this everyman. He was in the context of AEW, but it stuck with me that like, no, Nepo baby, I'm angry, right? And Sidge ethered me. And I can't remember if it was on Twitter or Slack, just to pop the boys, or both. But it was so good. It stuck me to this goddamn day, you piece of shit. No, it was so great. It was so great. And I felt it today. It was a gif of like an old fella watching the telly while like this insane fireworks display is happening by the window.
Yeah.
You're like,
in the dynamite colours.
And it was like Hamflet watching NXT, like saying Cody Rhodes is rubbish. Or something. It was something like to do with that, because it would have been like Cody, Jericho, probably, whatever it was. I'm just not buying into it.
It was Twitter.
And I was just like, I saw the negativity, and my feeling was, oh, I come outside and watch the fireworks. Like, this is the fireworks.
Yeah.
What Punk and Cody is the thing you need to be watching, because it won't be this way forever. These moments don't come around very now and then, and you have a choice to make in this moment of witnessing a bit of wrestling history and just putting it. And I get, right, that a lot of people don't like WWE's presentation, or don't like CM Punk, or don't like the fact that Cody Rhodes left AEW for WWE, or whatever the reasons are, or earnestly, if you just watch this and didn't feel what we are clearly all feeling today and what a bunch of the people are, I'm not telling anybody that they've got the wrong opinion, but I would say that what we were watching is something that will stand up, and it's worth seeing that maybe, and seeing when something really is, like, for the want of a better phrase, elite tier pro wrestling when it's happening in front of you, because we all collectively as a fan base watch plenty of it that just isn't. This is what you tune in for. This is absolutely why, dating back, I used a comparison on X of those great Rumbles where there's two guys at the top of the card, like Hogan Warrior, Lex Brett, Cena Batista, Punk, Rhodes. Like, it's nice and neat that I was able to make the comparison about Royal Rumbles, but the reality of that is that, oh my God, there's these two megastars at the same time, and you just can't call it. It could go either way. It's as real as the fake sport gets. It's perfection in terms of pro wrestling.
Two more things, because we've spent a lot on this. One, just acknowledge the haters once. I hate doing it. Like, I hate deeply this. Oh, well, you were saying that then, and now you're saying it now. The idea that there's like a hive mind, I hate it. I abhor it. However, if the way to construct that take is ever been more apt, it's today. Of the, if WWE did it, or if AEW did it, I hate it. I hate it so much. I hate it so much. Right? If this promo exchange happened in AEW on Dynamite with the I'm more CM Punk than you, I'm more of an American Dream than you, and they were talking instead about going for a title and not winning the Rumble, like, people would love it. People would be so effusive in their praise and not like, well, good job for them.
They'd be
good
chasing
job for Raw.
Biggest pay-per-view buy rate in the company's history sort of stuff, wouldn't they?
Yeah. Oh, the reception to it would just... Yeah. I'm just going to say that, because you're allowed to like it if it's good sometimes. That's me saying it. To something about Cody just being ready with that line, which is something quite specific to friendship in general, and it's why it just was so believable as a promo exchange, because there was something kind of winds you up about, like, your mates or whatever, and that was his version of that. I just felt so lived in and real. I kind of get over how great this was.
The piloting of it.
Watch it if you haven't.
The piloting of it in that Mingen, well, Cody's saying everything. Like, that was his desperation, wasn't it? To get something out there, because as we now know, he was on the verge of leaving. It's like, what if I never get another chance? Oh, well, let's toss this one away.
Yeah.
Hip toss class, was it? About the O'Reilly and Fish? Like,
something like
that. There's well, I've always wanted to say this. I've always wanted to say this. Like, in the context of that versus what we got here, and the way to actually use that and weaponize it, night and day.